Hey kids. Okay, today I'm going to go over how to draw some coral and how you might be able to layer it and build up on it so that it starts to look like a coral reef. And some of the coral is going to be, really basic and simple, and then you can do things to that coral to make it more developed and a little bit more interesting. So to start in pencil, I'm going to start with some coral that is easily recognizable, and you make this type of shape, but you kind of repeat it and vary it a little bit each time. So kind of working your way around, building on that. Now, coral isn't really flat, so some of this would be tucked behind, some of the stuff that's in front of it. So you could start by putting, let's put some here, kind of another layer back here. And then maybe that could peek out there. And then maybe there's some here. And some here. Let's put something there, and then come back there, and maybe something there, just to look like there's more there. All right, now for stuff that's like kind of in front of it or behind it, I'm going to show you how to do them and then sort of show you how to build. So you have some that have just basic shapes like this. But then you can make them more interesting by giving them a center. Sometimes this is an opening. And then, of course, you can give them like a fringe. Like this would be the kind of stuff that blows around in the current and, catches little things to eat. And that could go around each one. Etc. And then you can also have these lines that show that it's curved, and that could be like a texture line. So you could put this here, maybe this is up here in front of this, where you have the basic shape of it here, and then in here you have these, and then inside there you do this if you want to, right? And you continue going with the different layers. Another one that is fun looks kind of like a squiggle, but then you drop a line down from it. So you can start by doing something like this, but then you want to pull a line down towards, let's say towards like this area down here where it would be ultimately attached to something. So at every edge, you just do this until it bumps, whatever is in front of it, and then it disappears behind that. And then maybe that, and that, and this, and this, and then let's say that. Now this could maybe hide behind here, so if we have some of it kind of peeking out over here, then we would pull this down here like this. A little more there. Now some of them are just long pieces. You can keep this really simple, or you can just add, texture to it, right? It would maybe be dots. And the other thing you could do with this is give this whole thing fringe. So let's put that back here. Etc. Now, there are some that have like an opening and something coming out of them. So for that, you would draw something similar to this, where you have this shape, but this might be like a longer tube attached to something. And then what comes out of here could be something like this. It's like this, but just not quite as long. But it's full, right? So it might spill out over onto all sides like that. And all of these should be, you know, fully filled in. So maybe these, maybe there's two of these down here. I'll put one here, attached to here, and one here, attached to there. And then again, this just goes in all directions. Now, there are some that have kind of like a shell look. So let me see if I can get this drawn for you. Start with a smaller center and then give it a wider shape. And then what it has around it is this that makes it look rounded, right? These contour lines. And you can double them. A little bug in here with me. Like that. The other thing, again, of course, that you can do to all of this also is to give it like a textured dot. Like that. So let's put him over here. He's kind of hiding behind that. So hopefully you can see how you can start to take some of these shapes and layer them and build them so that they start to make a really interesting, I think I'm going to put one more of this thing right there in the front. A really interesting coral reef. I'm going to take this little section, go over it with some Sharpie, and I'll show you what it looks like in a second. Okay, so I went over some of my lines with Sharpie. I made some adjustments. I added some of my texture dots and some of my fringe, and hopefully this helps to, give you an idea of how you can build and develop your own coral reef. All right, kids, take care.